I'm about to be involved in a car accident. You see, Yusuf here,
hello,
is currently driving at about 40 miles an hour towards a car which has appeared in our path, and he's not going to do anything to avoid it. No braking, no evasive manoeuvres, nothing. Which means if the car doesn't do what it's supposed to and bring us to a halt, we're going to have a very expensive accident. Yusuf, that car is coming up very, very quickly, and I'm hoping the car's going to stop. Phew. Now, we're actually at a private runway, and the car that we were going to crash into is just a very sophisticated dummy. But the automatic emergency braking, or AEB system that just brought Yusuf and I to a halt really does save lives in the real world. But the safest cars can do a lot more to help prevent an accident in the first place. So if you want to know which cars are the best at protecting you and your loved ones, keep watching. This BMW X3 that Yusuf and I are in now is a good place to start because it's the winner of the 2026 What Car Safety Award. And Yusuf is well placed to tell us how impressive it is because he works for Thatcham Research, which rates every new car on sale for how safe, secure and repairable they are. And Yusuf is their principal engineer for advanced safety systems. So Yusuf, looking at the X3 here, what's the most important thing we're looking at?
The most important attribute for these safety systems fundamentally is the performance. It's that they need to activate in situations where they're really required. And we could talk about any of the safety systems on the X3, but I think Lane Keep Assist is a really good example of what I'm talking about. So where a simple system will simply see you're approaching a lane marking and they'll bounce you off of it with a fixed amount of force, the X3 is going a little bit deeper. It's looking quite far down the road to understand what's the curvature of the road, what is the vector between our vehicle and the lane marking that we're approaching, so that it can tailor the situation to introduce just the right amount of force through the steering wheel, not doing too much and not doing too little, just giving you what you need. There's also another side to performance, and that's false alerts, so that when you encounter situations like roadworks, faded lines, tar strips, or narrow country lanes, it suppresses alerts in these situations where you don't want them. So you're not fighting with the system and ending up in conflict with it constantly.
And that's a key point, isn't it? It's more helping you than hindering you. It's like a butler with a helping hand rather than a nanny telling you off when you've done something wrong.
Exactly, and that is actually the second most important attribute for us for most of these safety systems. It's a made-up word that we call collaborativeness, which I think makes perfect sense. That's how much does the system actually allow you to adjust things on the fly, to move around a pothole without deactivating, or to override the system by changing lanes without indicating, for example. And the X3 does that very, very well. The override torque, for example, when you do that lane change, is really low, and you can simply push through the system with just 2 fingers.
And we've been using a lot of the iDrive infotainment system here. It's been really easy to fine-tune these systems to what you want.
That's right, and that's another key standout on the BMW X3. The configurability of these safety systems is over and above most vehicles on the market. So each function has different sub-functions that you can turn on and off, and you can even adjust the sensitivity of those sub-functions. So you can have a play around with the vehicle, you can find out exactly what level of collaboration, what level of sensitivity works for you. You can save that to your profile so it stays that way over the lifetime of the vehicle.
Beyond safety, there's plenty to like about the BMW X3. Despite being a large car with a generous boot and good rear seat space, it still feels remarkably agile to thread along a country road. Plus, BMW's iDrive infotainment system has lots of features and is easy to get along with. But which other cars are worth considering if safety is a top priority? Well, we also have 2 runners-up, and each impressed us, and each offers something different. Starting with this, the Smart #5. This is an electric SUV with a comfortable ride, a spacious and classy interior, and a superb real-world range. But it also impresses in terms of safety. So Yusuf, where does the #5 stand out for you?
The biggest standout for us on the #5 is actually the specification that you get on the base model. So the base model of the #5s comes with every active safety feature as standard. You don't have to pay any extra to get an increased level of safety. And that even extends to features that are typically not seen as standard, like 360 cameras. So it's great to see that democratisation of safety, driving it right down to a lower price point. There are certain safety features mandated legally as part of a regulation called GSR2, but this car goes over and above to not give you just that minimum baseline.
And that GSR2, can you put that into more layman terms? What does that mean in terms of safety?
The GSR2 is a European regulation that brings in a minimum fitment of this active safety technology, but really it's a basic level of autonomous emergency braking, intelligent speed assist and lane keep assist. So the Smart goes well over and above that basic level to give you an improved level of safety on the vehicle.
Talking about going over and above, in terms of safety, is there something that the Hashtag 5 does that's just better than its rivals?
Absolutely. The direct driver monitoring system on the Hashtag 5 is excellent. That's a system that's using a driver-facing camera to detect if you're drowsy or distracted. It's also mandated by GSR2, but a lot of new cars still don't have it due to the phased rollout. A lot of new cars that do have it, it's not implemented in an unobtrusive way, leading to drivers finding it a nuisance and causing them to turn it off. And also the BMW X3 has it, but in that vehicle it's only active when the assisted driving system is on, not in manual driving. So the Hashtag 5 gives you an implementation of that system that's active in every mode, that's extremely accurate, it doesn't cause nuisance alerts and doesn't force you to turn it off.
Our other runner-up is this, the Skoda Elroq. It's an electric family SUV that's comfortable, spacious and well priced. And that last point is really key because a lower price means more buyers can potentially put one on their driveway. But don't think of it as any sort of bargain basement when it comes to safety. In fact, if you go for a relatively high spec version, you get a lot of the same safety tech that appears on VW Group's more expensive models. But Yusuf, when we talk about that safety tech, what systems do we actually mean?
A really good example is Travel Assist. Travel Assist is the VW Group's Level 2 assisted driving system, a system that keeps you in the centre of the lane and maintains distance to objects in front. You get the Travel Assist system from, for example, the VW ID.7 on the Skoda Elroq, so you don't receive some watered down version with poorer performance. You're getting that same performance of a vehicle at a higher price point. Not only do you get that same performance, but you also get the extra safety functionality that comes with a more detailed system like Travel Assist. For example, how it handles an unresponsive driver.
You mentioned an unresponsive driver there. What does that actually look like in practice? Can you run a demonstration for us?
Sure, let's do it right now. So if I take my hands off the wheel and Travel Assist is active, it's going to detect my hands have left the wheel, and after 5 seconds roughly it's going to sound a warning. After that initial warning, it will then escalate its level of beeps. So at the moment it's telling me to take over the steering, and if we just wait a few more seconds then we'll see that escalation. If the escalation then isn't responded to, the system will go through another several stages.
So there we go, it's come up with a warning there.
Exactly, so now it's actually going to apply brake jerks, assuming I'm asleep.
Yep.
It's pulling the seatbelt pretensioners, stopping the vehicle right down to zero, engaging the hazards, beeping the horn to try and wake you, and it will also engage an e-call if I don't now take over control of the vehicle as I am.
So it's taking care of you if the worst should happen.
Exactly, and all of these stages of escalation are designed so that the vehicle does everything it reasonably can do to bring you back into that driving task safely.
Now the Elroq also has reverse AEB. That's a system we were talking about on the Smart earlier, but can you give us a demonstration of what that looks like?
Absolutely. So if we imagine we're in a perpendicular parking scenario and there's a vehicle opposite us to the rear here, and say we overshoot a little bit or we have a pedal misapplication and we're approaching that vehicle quite quickly, what the Elroq is going to do is at the last second it's going to apply the brakes to prevent that collision completely.
That's brilliant. Not only is it managed to stop, but you can imagine in a busy scenario like a supermarket or a multi-storey car park, that could potentially save you from an insurance claim.
Exactly, and that's the exact reason why we value this technology so much in a vehicle.
Now you might be sat there thinking, that sounds great, but what made the X3 take the overall win in the What Car Safety Award? Well, while both the BMW and the Smart have the same sort of safety technology fitted, the systems perform much better in the X3. And while the BMW has a sophisticated camera-based driver monitoring system, the Skoda Elroq tries to do the same thing by monitoring your steering inputs, which isn't as effective. So, there you have it. 3 great cars are among the safest you'll find on the road. But what about the future of car safety? While there's lots of great tech available to help you avoid a collision in the first place, how a car is designed to protect not only you, but also other road users is still vital. And Alex here has seen more collisions than most of us. He's a principal engineer for Thatcham Research, and it's his job to analyse the data.
So what's really key about vehicles and the safety performance of vehicles is the crash structure that lies unseen behind the bumper. This allows energy of a crash to be absorbed effectively and keep the compartment stable and allow the restraint system, that's the seat belts and airbags, to work effectively in a crash.
And we're looking here at the front end of the BMW X3, and there's a bonnet feature that's coming, isn't it? A pop-up bonnet that will help protect vulnerable road users.
Vulnerable road users make up about 50% of all the people who are killed and seriously injured on the UK roads every year. And so protecting them is really important. A pop-up bonnet works by detecting the impact of a pedestrian hitting the bumper. It deploys the back end of the bonnet, it lifts it up, and what that does is it creates really important space between the pedestrian's head hitting the bonnet and the hard components underneath that, give that pedestrian the best chance of surviving that impact.
And talking of impacts and structures, you know, heaven forbid if a BMW crashes into a Smart or vice versa, they need to be able to absorb the impact together. How does that work?
Well, that's known as crash compatibility, and that's how the structures of one vehicle engages with the other and how they work together. So what we're seeing now is that vehicle structures are getting wider and they're getting deeper, which means that two different cars, they've got a better chance of those structures interacting together, and then they can both absorb energy as efficiently as possible so that both vehicles can protect their compartments and have the best outcome for both vehicles in a crash.
And what about repairability? Because there's so much tech on modern cars, is it the case that if you have a small accident, you're going to have to replace half the front end, or how is that taken into consideration?
Well, that's one of the key things from Thatcham's perspective is that from an insurer's point of view, it's about safety, security and sustainable repair. So if you are involved in a minor crash, you don't want to be replacing the whole front end of the vehicle. And so having components like the bumper crossbeam, which can absorb energy in a small impact, but is easy to repair, easy to replace without causing the vehicle to be written off or a really, really expensive repair. Those things are really key alongside the safety performance.
And Thatcham now applies a vehicle risk rating to every car that it tests. Can you just talk us through what that involves and what it means for buyers?
So what that means is that our insurers have a more detailed picture of the risk profile of a car. We look at safety, security, repairability, damageability and the performance of the vehicle. It allows their insurers to get a really good picture of what that vehicle is, what the risk of that vehicle is on the road, and it allows them to price insurance policies much more accurately, and that can only be a good thing for the consumer.
So, whether you're looking to buy your next car now or in the near future, we've got you covered. But which of the 3 cars we looked at in detail today would you buy and why? Let us know in the comments.